Well, the United States is turning up the economic pressure on Iran. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent threatening what he calls the toughest sanctions in history, as Tehran warns it could respond with military action. Now, Bessent saying, quote, "The world should understand that our objective is to sever every economic lifeline that sustains the tyrannical regime until Tehran stands alone." At the same time, Pakistan's army chief visiting Tehran today to try to broker a diplomatic off-ramp, while Iranian leaders are reportedly signaling that they may be open to a deal with President Trump. I want to bring in to break down the latest former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Trump, Victoria Coast. So there's going to be a lot of eyes today on Treasury Secretary Bessent. He's scheduled to speak at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time today. You know, my question going into this is, who does he call out? Because he wrote in the Financial Times this morning, Iran's enablers purchase and transport its petroleum. They facilitate the flow of its finances through exchange houses and free trade zones. And then they turn a blind eye to seaborne fuel transfers. So, you know, this is the economic warfare that was promised. Here it comes. What do you expect to hear?
Well, good morning, Cheryl. Good to be with you. Yeah, I think we're going to hear a couple of things. I think we're going to hear some comments for our friends in Europe. I think it's time for them to step up and assist the United States in this conflict by stopping their more than $5 billion of trade with Iran, or else they're going to face U.S. sanctions. I'm looking at a country like Malaysia, which is both importing and then transferring, rebranding, if you will, Iranian oil as Malaysian oil. So what China's buying right now, they're saying, oh, we're not buying anything from Iran, we're buying it from Malaysia. No, this has to stop. And then the entire shadow fleet of tankers. So this really is the turning of the screws on Iran. The UAE cutting them off from Dubai last week was a huge step. This is going to be another giant leap toward putting an end to this awful regime in Iran. They are going to cease to exist if they don't come to the deal President Trump wants.
Yeah, it's interesting because the United States says that they control the Strait. The Iranians say that they control the Strait. They want to, of course, inflict tolls on the Strait. Are we ever going to go back to having an open, free Strait of Hormuz, or is that just in the rearview mirror?
I don't know that it actually matters, because what we're seeing is the entire region find different ways to get their energy, both their natural gas and their oil, out of the Middle East and to the global market. So this is Iran doing this to themselves. Yes, we would all like to see just an open strait, a normal commerce, normal shipping. But Iran is the one that did this. And if Iran controlled the strait, they would be exporting 2 million barrels of oil a day. They're not. They're absolutely being strangled by the president's blockade on the strait. We are the ones who are controlling what's getting out. And the New York Post is reporting, 400% increase in the ships that are coming out. Iran can't do anything about it.
Well, actually, it's interesting because the editorial board at the New York Post wrote that Trump is winning the Iran war. Stay the course. And they talk about, again, this upcoming, these comments coming from the Treasury Secretary later today. But it says that the gambit that the Tehran military and the Iranian military has put in place has failed, basically, and that their navy's at the bottom of the ocean. I want to talk about more with the readiness issue of Asia in the middle of all of this, because the Pentagon canceled a major joint marine exercise with South Korea because of force constraints that were tied to the Iranian conflict. North Korea fired 10 short-range ballistic missiles. China is stepping back in to apparently broker diplomacy with Iran, they say. This is really, major concerns about the region, not just with China and Taiwan, but also China and Iran. Because going back to what Secretary Bessent wrote in the Financial Times, Victoria, who's funding Iran? China. They're still buying crude. They're still buying oil.
Oh. They are, although much less than they have. And that's some other interesting reporting today. They've been shifting to coal to generate electricity in China, and they've been using their oil reserves. So I think they're treating Iran like a bad bet. And the other two numbers, the record numbers we're going to be looking at in the coming days, are both 2 million and 14 million. 2 million is going to be the exchange rate between the United States. A dollar will now buy you 2 million Iranian rial. We've never seen anything like that. 10 years ago, it was 35,000. Now it's 2 million. 14 million is the number of barrels of oil per day that are going to be produced domestically in the United States in coming weeks. We're already at 13.83, so we're going to get up to 14 million. Nothing like this has been seen before. When China looks at that, what they see in Iran is a failure, exposure, potential, problems for them. What they see in the United States is the strong horse, literally the world's gas station. And when they're looking at the secondary sanctions that Secretary Bessent is proposing, that's not even a choice for them. They're going to make a business decision. They're not going to go with Iran.
These 50% tariffs on Canadian goods, also a major story over the weekend, Victoria. So they're now in effect. Those trade talks collapsed Friday night. This hits about $20 billion in Canadian products. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is saying the Trump administration did not offer enough. Here's the Prime Minister.
In recent days, the United States proposed new terms that were uneconomic, unfair, and undermined the net benefits for Canada and called into question the reliability of any deal. In short, they asked too much and they offered too little. Canada will match Washington's new tariffs dollar for dollar.
So you're saying dollar per dollar. We're talking about things like wine, hockey equipment. Canada's retaliation is set to start September 8th. And this does put the future of the USMCA in doubt, Victoria. Your thoughts?
Well, this situation was due for a major reset. I mean, Canada has just been literally stealing our lunch for years now. And so I think the president is rightly driving a much harder bargain with them. Yes, they're a little surprised. Yes, they want to sell their hockey gear and whatnot to the United States. But the reality is the two economies are not even remotely commensurate. We can stand this a whole lot better than they can. We have a much broader trading base than Canada does. And so I think that we're going to get back to the table in coming days. This is a problem for us. It's an existential threat for them. We want to have a good relationship with our neighbors to the north. It should be a partnership of great strength. But Canada has to realize that their free ride is over.
One of the things that struck me about Canada in the middle of all of this, and this has been going on for months, is that they, when it came to vehicles, they were looking to China. Do you think that that's a threat, or do you think that that's a concern for the U.S. administration? Do you really want, more Chinese vehicles in Canada? There's been concerns about, no one wants to see Chinese vehicles here in the U.S. because of all the cameras. What do you make of that?
No, this is a huge problem. And Prime Minister Carney, who is obviously, a woke liberal Prime Minister of Canada, is way too friendly with communist China. He's visited there. He's rolling out the red carpet for them. He's putting in pipelines to export more energy to them to make Canada more dependent on China. So, that's where he is leaning with his government. But I don't know that that's going to be the most popular with the people of China, or of Canada, rather, going forward, because I don't know that they want to be under Chinese surveillance from these kinds of vehicles and other products that he wants to import.
Right. Yeah, that is the concern. We've talked about it on the program before. Victoria Coates, it's great to see you as always. Thank you for being here. We'll be right back, everybody.